Ladies and gentlemen, let's get settled down. Let's get started. She said last time I talked to Mr. Al Thomas, I'm all in. I said, all in. Yes, I'm all in like I was when I first got started. I said, that's what I would love to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give a warm welcome to Regional Vice President straight back out of Lake Tahoe, ready to go, the one and only Miss Keri RVP Roeder.
Well, happy Monday morning, everybody. I am so excited. I'm sorry that I missed last Monday, but as he said, I was actually on a plane to Las Vegas to go celebrate my daughter's 21st birthday. She turned 21 in the beginning of October. We met up in Vegas. Had a great time, and then I immediately flew home and drove straight up to South Lake Tahoe with Suzanne Candler to meet up with some of you who were there for that incredible training. And it's interesting. Hello, Miss Roxanne. It's interesting. Sitting back and watching all of the training this weekend, or it wasn't a weekend, it was during the week, but and then being a part of the training, being able to actually quote some of the things, the concepts and the training concepts that Mr. Al Thomas teaches, not just me, but everybody in not just at ACN, but actually in the industry globally. It's really fun. And so for those of you who are new, congratulations and welcome. I'm Keri Roeder, and I am zooming in from Northern California. And I'm excited to have you be a part of this because when you're new, you don't quite understand the level of success that Mr. Al Thomas has, not just created for himself, but for others as well. And so I really want you to know that the level of significance of success that this gentleman has created is not just within our company. It is actually, he's been documented for global success in the direct sales and multi-level marketing industries. And so when he gives us advice, when he gives us coaching, we definitely need to heed that advice because he knows what he's talking about. And those of us who follow his coaching and his advice, we tend to find the success that it is we're looking for. And so being a part of the Tahoe training, there were a couple of times that I heard some concepts that Mr. Thomas teaches all of us, and I said some as well. I actually had a book in there as a part of my training that you had me read, Mr. Thomas. And so I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. And it's always an honor to be able to be on these calls and start off on Mondays. It's a great way for me to start the week as we have these conversations. So I appreciate, and thank you for my text this morning. That was adorable. So, okay. So I am really excited. And one of the things, I was sitting there in Tahoe and, I was thinking about this call and I was thinking about Mr. Thomas. And one of the things I consistently say is this: we need to use Mr. Thomas. We need to take advantage of him, right? We don't take him for granted. We take advantage of him. Mr. Thomas is one of the biggest tools we get to use in building our business. And then I was sitting there and listening to the training that was happening in Tahoe and listening to Mr. Dean Turali talk about the different tools, Mrs. Jocelyn Driscoll, Mr. Basuti. And I was like, tools, that's what we're going to talk about today. Like what are the tools that we have accessible to us and how do we use them? So I have a whole list of tools and stuff. And so as I go through this, they're not necessarily in order. They're just concepts of tools that you can use to build your business part-time. Now, one of the things we pride ourselves in is teaching how to build ACN part-time around your very busy schedule, right? Most of the time when people get started, they either have a full-time job or they run full-time businesses like I did when I got started. And so the idea that we have these tools in place that help us be effective to build this part-time. One of the things I pointed out in Tahoe when I think Mr. Basuti was training, maybe it was Mr. Trolley, but I pointed out that when we're talking about like using like three-way calls and stuff like that, I pointed out, even if you have a full-time job, you still can take a 15-minute break in the morning, right? And make a phone call. You can take some of your lunch hour and make some phone calls. You can take an afternoon break and make a phone call. You can make calls on your drive home, right? And so that's the idea. We're suggesting that when you follow our guidance of how to do this, you can still be effective doing it part-time. And that's what's great. And that's what's duplicatable. That is absolutely what is duplicatable. So let me give you my schedule when I got started in May of 2010, okay? So May of 2000 to April of 2010, I got a phone call like all of us get, right? A younger cousin of mine knew I was married at the time and knew we were successful in business. And so by the time he got started, he had to see it 4 times before he decided to get started. This is my Filipino side of the family, so there's a lot of us, right? So as he's writing out all the names in the family, he told me, he got to me and he's like, oh wow, super successful, right? They still kept their businesses, they kept their house, their cars, they still vacation, because we were coming out of the 2007, 8, and 9, right? What my cousin didn't know is that in May of 2010, when I got started, I was actually crying myself to sleep at night. And here's why. My husband, at the time, we were both working 7 days a week. 7 days a week. So if you have even one day off, you have more time to build ACN than I did. But not only was I running my businesses 7 days a week, my daughter was in kindergarten, she was 5. And the way that I spent time with her was to volunteer in her classroom every single morning. Literally every morning, take her to school, volunteer for an hour or two, and then go to my office, pick her up after school, right? I was also the room mom. So I get to host all the parties and everything. I believe in giving back to your community. So I was also on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce of my town when I first got started. And I chaired an ambassador team, which means it's like 4, 5, 6 hours volunteer. I did volunteer for the business community. And then I'm daddy's little girl, as some of you know. And so in order to spend time with my dad, I actually was a part of the service club he was a part of. So here I am, I see ACN, I'm working 7 days a week, time with my daughter the best I could, doing all this volunteer stuff, and I had to add ACN on top of it. Well, what was great is when I understood there are tools available to us to use and that I didn't have to make anything up. I had my master's degree in psychology, and the day that I graduated and closed that last book, I was like, I will never open a book again, right? I didn't want to have to think necessarily on how to do this because I was so busy building, like having to think and building my corporation and then take care of my daughter and all that. Who's texting me right now? And so the idea that we get to use these tools part-time is great. And I give you my long-winded story to tell you that no matter what you have going on in your life, if you use the tools that we give you effectively, you can find profit in what it is we do. Okay. So here are some of the tools. One of your biggest tools is your leadership. And I'm not just talking Mr. Thomas, we're going to get to him in a second, but I'm talking your executive team leader, your regional coordinator, your regional director, your regional vice president. Use your leadership as one of your biggest assets in building your business. These are the people who are going to be doing the presentations on your behalf. They're going to be doing the training on your behalf. They're going to be sitting with you, helping you make invitation phone calls, right? So when you utilize a leader to help you build your business, they're going to teach you what to do. There's a saying, earn while you learn, right? So they're going to teach you what it is we do and just sit back, be coachable, don't question, because if you understand the compensation plan, you'll understand that when you make money, your leader makes money. So we advise you on, I call them income generating activities, right? We're only going to advise you what to do that's going to turn a profit for you, because then it turns a profit for the rest of us. Okay. So your leader is one of your best, most amazing assets. Okay, so as leaders, we are able to do like 3-way text messages, right? So when we're helping our new people or even our existing people make phone calls to see a presentation, we can actually set up 3-way text between you, the IBO, your guests, and your leader. And as a leader, we have that ability when we're properly edified. Edification is one of your biggest tools. When we're properly edified, we can help see the value in your guests coming to meet us and meet the other leaders and see the amazing business you're part of. Now, I really want to stress this. I suggest that we go back to in-person events, meaning it's been what, coming up on almost 6 years, right, that COVID started. You guys, people are not afraid to get together anymore, but I think we've become complacent and lazy in wanting to use Zooms. So here's kind of my rule of thumb for all the new teams I've been getting started. If somebody lives within 2 hours of us, they need to drive and come and meet me. If they're past 2 hours, that's fine. We can utilize Zoom. And we can do that, past 2 hours in the same state or across the country. So we can create a hybrid model that's going to be successful. But everyone on this call right now who is in Tahoe, I think you would agree that the training that we all did, the training that Mr. Masudi and Mr. Trolley did all day Thursday, right? And then the training that Mr. Trolley, Miss Jocelyn Driscoll, and I did on Friday would not have been as effective if it was on Zoom. the idea that the emotions that we felt when Douglas Wolf trained, right? It was because we were live and in person. We could feel the energy exchange. So I strongly suggest that you have what we call a PBR, a private business reception. You put people you know in your living room, and the smaller the living room with the more people, the better. The bigger the living room with fewer people, no, because you don't have that high energy exchange, right? So if you live in a little tiny home or an apartment or whatever, great, pack it out because the energy in there is going to be phenomenal, okay? So I suggest that. And then also utilize the Zoom, do the hybrid model. Capture people who live outside of your area and in other states, okay? So private business receptions is the priority in my opinion, and then private business Zooms to capture everybody else. Then what we're gonna do is every Tuesday, Mr. Al Thomas, Senior Vice President, documented for his success, written about in books, wrote a book, magazine, Success from Home magazine. Like, it's insane the documentation this guy has for his level of success. 3 billion of the B mentors himself. He's trained or taught and coached other people to find incredible levels of success. Every Tuesday, he does an effective presentation. So when you utilize a tool of a home meeting, a PBR, and then anybody who says yes, anybody who is as question is interested, you enroll everybody to meet our senior vice president on Tuesday night for the effective presentation. He's going to lock them in. He's going to help them make a decision. Most of the time when somebody gets in front of Mr. Al Thomas as a second exposure, they're in. They're in. So utilize that, we call them BOM, business opportunity meeting. That's what, when you can put your guests in front of a group of people, they're going to go from your living room where it's you and your leader's going to talk about you and your goals and your success and the future we have together. When they go from seeing that and then they get on a Zoom, or even better, they get into an in-person business opportunity meeting and they realize they're not the only one. There's other people. When they get on Mr. Al Thomas's call tomorrow night, Tuesday, and he says, where y'all zooming in from, right? And they're like, New York, Florida, California, New Mexico. They're going to be like, oh, okay. It's not just me and my friend that I saw it with, right? There's a bigger picture. So business opportunity meetings is a significant tool when you use it correctly. In my opinion, so sorry, Mr. Thomas, if this is not how you want it, but in my opinion, business opportunity meetings is not first exposure. Even if you have to sit with somebody in a coffee shop and show the business and then put them in front of Mr. Al Thomas on Tuesday, even if you have to like do a Zoom, right, one-on-one with the leader and a three-way Zoom, right, and get the business information. That way, when they come to the business opportunity, they're not there to see the business. They're there to see the concept of how people like Mr. Thomas can help them succeed, and that other people are doing it, okay? So before COVID, when we did everything in person, I would train our team that, listen, when they show up to the business opportunity on Tuesdays, I don't want them trying to take in the business while they're taking in the environment, because we were dressed to the nines, right? Guys were suit and ties, us ladies, we had our heels and all that, and we're up on the stage talking when they're clapping and, edification and all that. So they're taking in the environment. So if they're going to the business opportunity and it's their second exposure, they already know what the business is about. Now what they're doing is they're taking in the environment. And Mr. Provenzano, our president, says, provide the environment for hope and opportunity and the environment to win. Well, the environment is what makes people go, I'm in. The environment for me is what made me go, I can do this. I saw ACN in my parents' living room. And it was great. And I was totally in. But by the time I went to a Tuesday night business opportunity, I had already started in the business, but I was looking around going, holy beep, right? And I was like, wow, these people look amazing. And I saw all walks of life. I saw young, I saw old, I saw tall, I saw short, I saw, successful, I saw not successful. I saw all walks of life. And I thought, well, dang, if these people are succeeding, I can succeed. I was taking in the environment, not the business concept. So there's my little rant on that one. Okay, now other events. Mr. Al Thomas talked about it, convention. Kush is going to absolutely kill it because he's bringing a whole army of people to our next Elevate event in Florida, right? So again, the environment. So we have the stages, you've seen that in training, right? Where it's a PBR, and then they have the Saturday training, and then, you know, like a regional training event, and then the big Elevate event. Utilize the Elevate event for what it's designed to do. And maybe next week we'll talk about how to utilize the Elevate events in better detail, because again, I'm doing short today, so I'll do that next week. But when you utilize the Elevate events, telling you right now, the founders, Mr. Kane, Angela Chrysler, and all of the top producers that stand on that stage and train, and then everybody else in the environment, it's absolutely sells people out that they can succeed in this. Okay, now let's talk about your back office. Okay, let's talk about your back office. You can't break it. Okay, get in there and click around. Even if you're like, I don't have a team, no worries, still click on it, right? But one of the things that I really am, when I got started, I was so excited about on the back office, is that I don't have to be the one creating. I don't have to be the one doing the reports. Okay, that was what I did in my traditional business. So what I mean by that is every single service we offer has a flyer. And you can put your IBO, your name and your IBO contact information on there. Okay. So if you're not getting in your back office and drilling down on the services that you're marketing and printing out flyers, maybe now is a good time to consider doing that. And here's why. They're professionally created. So if you're out there marketing Vivint Security, it is a professionally created, oh, sure. Wait, do I have it? It's down there. It's professionally created flyer. And so when you're out there marketing and you're sitting with somebody, you can tangibly, okay, I am old. I'm 52 years old. I get it. Everybody's in the digital world and all that. But you know what? Old people like me, I need a piece of paper. I need something to walk home with, to like, I can like look at physically and throw on my desk, right? So be mindful that not everybody lives in the digital world. I don't. I'm trying. I'm trying, right? But when you send me a digital business card, like I go to a lot of networking events, and some people, oh, let me send you my business card digitally. And I'm like, okay, right? And then they send it to me and I'm like, and now I have to try to remember your name later. Versus if you actually hand me a actual business card, then I have it. I can remember your name later because I have it in my hand, right? So as we utilize these tools, business cards being one of them, I've figured out I have both. I have the digital business card and I have a physical business card. So I do both. So when somebody's like, oh, let's exchange digital business cards. Okay, right? So I do that. And then I hand them my physical business card and ask them if they have one. Because again, I need something tangible. And yes, I'm all over the map right now as far as my tools. But back to that, back to the back office. We have flyers for every single service. You can print out, very professional, and you can use those in your customer acquisition. Now, there's also videos that we have in our back office on the services and on recruiting. So you can utilize those videos. When you're, again, use your leader, right? Use your leader. That's the best, most effective way. But if you're in a situation that you have somebody that absolutely wants the information before they'll meet with your leader, we have videos you can send them. They're quick little under 2-minute videos that'll pique their interest. Mr. Tony Kupas has an entire presentation video, right? And if you get somebody new started, you can send them Mr. Tony Kupas's comp plan video, because I'll tell you right now, when you understand the compensation plan, you don't sleep, okay? So utilize the tools inside of your back office. Okay, so let's talk about networking events, because like I said, I do go to a lot of networking events, and that is a big, big tool. And maybe one of the Mondays this week we'll drill down on what to do at networking events. But to give you the shorthand version right now, when you go to a networking event, you want to make sure your presence is remembered. Okay, you want to be memorable. Now, for those of you who haven't met me, I'm 5 foot tall. When people see me in person, they're like, wow, I didn't realize you're so short. Why is that? Because I have a presence about me. I recognize that. I'm owning that. I'm learning to own that, Mr. Thomas, right? That I have a presence about me. Now, when I go to networking events, I put on the heels, I dress to the nines, right? I do the hair, the bag, the whole bit, right? But here's what else I walk in with, and here's one of my biggest tools. When I meet somebody, I look them in the eye and I shake their hand, thumb to thumb. Ladies, I am a princess. I really am, right? But when I'm at a networking event, no, I'm not, they're not kissing my hand, they're shaking my hand because we're in a business event. This is a business conversation. So thumb to thumb, right? You shake their hand, thumb to thumb. You look them in the eye. And then guess what is one of your biggest tools? Smile. Smile at them. When you look somebody in the eye, you shake their hand. Oh, that's cute. Thank you, Kush. When you look them in the eye, when you shake their hand and you smile at them, that is one of your biggest assets because you're immediately creating a connection with them. Okay. And then I already went on my rant about the business cards. So physical ones in hand, as well as digital, make sure that you're satisfying all needs of communication in that capacity. Okay. One of the other big tools is edification. So I've done, I think it's recorded on YouTube, but I've done trainings on edification. And if you want, I can do that again another day. But edification is actually one of your biggest tools. When you create value for your leadership, when you edification is to create the value for somebody else or for something else, right? In our case, it's someone else. And when you can create that value for your leadership and edify them, properly say the right things to get people interested in meeting them, that's huge. And then you edify prior to the start of your PBR, your private business reception, or your Zoom. And then when we go to the larger events, right, somebody introduces the main person presenting and they edify. And the reason why is because we want to make sure that the guests in the room and the new business partners in the room understand the value of the person that's about to speak. Because when the person that's about to speak has value, what they have to say has value, which what they have to say is your new ACN business. So edification is one of your biggest tools. Now, Ms. Roxanne Corlejo, I'm going to steal some of your feedback from South Lake Tahoe's training. It's something I have trained since I got started in the very beginning and went to my first international. So, woman, you are brilliant. Here it is. Cross the stage is what she said. She's like, cross the stage. She goes, make sure you do the work between now and when we go to Elevate in Orlando in March, that you do the work so that you can cross the stage. Because when your team sees you crossing the stage, that's natural edification and it's a story. Right. And her words were, hey, listen, come with me to Orlando because I'm going to cross the stage and I want your support. Absolutely brilliant, Roxanne. Totally true. And I'm going to add another layer to that, or a couple more layers to that. Okay. Not only is it edification, or the support of them coming, and they see you crossing the stage, and they see you shake Mr. Kane's hand, Miss Chrysler's hand, and then all the founders' hands, and all that, and you're hopefully on the jumbotron at the right time, right? That the camera's on you. And if not, have your team be at the bottom of the ramp so that you're coming down the ramp, you can be like, what? Or whatever it is you're going to do, right? And they can take pictures of you, they can take videos of you, and then you can use that for future marketing of yourself, okay? But here's the thing. Use that as acknowledgement. You did not get there alone. There's no physical way for you to cross that stage without a team who did the work to put you. So if you ever hear me talk about it, I always say our position hit RVP in 3.5 years. It wasn't me. It was a huge group of people all doing a little bit to make that position, my IBO number, hit the regional vice president position. Was I working my tail off? You bet your booty. I was doing 2 PBRs a night, 5 nights a week, and going to Tuesday night BOMs and Saturday morning trainings. You bet you. I worked my tail off for that. Absolutely. But I didn't do it alone. So there's no way for you to cross the stage in recognition, except for customer acquisition. You could do that, right? You could go out and get your own customers. Yeah. But what I'm talking about is when you hit those bigger positions like regional coordinator, regional director, when you're a top producer in customer acquisition, when there's a team, right? In events like Kush, right? Or registration to events like Kush's, and recruiting. So recognize your team. Recognize your team when before, during, and after going across that stage. Recognize them, because that is actually how you got there. And then another added layer is do the work for somebody else, for them to cross the stage. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing more satisfying than making sure your new ETL or your new promoted regional coordinator is in their seats in time for recognition. And then you're like, they're right. And they go to their front, they go to the line and they're like, all nervous going up the ramp, and they're all excited, and they're like, holy crap, right? And then they go, and they're like crossing the stage all nervous, and they come off, and like I get the chills. For me, I should say for me, there's nothing more satisfying than watching your team members cross that stage. And what's also fun too, I wish I would have thought about it, I would have put it up. One of the last internationals, I intentionally waited, I forget what we were crossing for, but it was me and like 4 or 5 other people. And so we all crossed together, and then we stood at the end of the ramp, and somebody else at the bottom took a picture of our group crossing the stage, right? And so it's wonderful when you can promote it and cross the stage yourself, but it's even better when you can have somebody in your team that you help support cross that stage. And then another layer to this is this. When your organization grows so big that somebody in your team is crossing the stage in recognition for success, and you are not directly working with them because there's a leader in your downline who's helping other people, and you get to stand back. So visualize this. A new person or somebody, whatever, is crossing that stage, right? And they're like I described, they're excited, they're nervous. And somebody in your team, a leader in your team, is the one at the end of the ramp with their camera, right? So it's all, right, this is so exciting. I helped somebody else promote. Well, now what you get to do is you get to step back, and you get to take a video of your person taking the video of them crossing the stage, somebody you've never met. Welcome to success in ACN. That's how it's done, you guys. We're not here to do this as individuals. Yes, we are independent business owners, but we're here to multiply. We're here to duplicate ourselves so that you're not the only one out there building your business. Like I told you, our position hit regional vice president in 3.5 years. Yes, I worked my tail off, but every single night there were other people working their tails off on the journey to that position. So that's what I have for today. I hope that's helpful. I'm super excited about being able to be with you for the month of November. It's actually one of my favorite months because it's the month of giving thanks, right? Thanksgiving. And tomorrow's Veterans Day. So all of you who have served in our armed forces, local armed forces, fire, nursing, all of that, medical stuff, everybody. I appreciate our freedom. I appreciate our safety. I appreciate the ability to be able to build this business alongside amazing people, and it's at the sacrifice of amazing people like you and the people that we've lost, and my dad including. So we haven't lost my dad, but my dad was a Vietnam War vet. So I just want to say thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful Veterans Day, and I'm excited for next Monday. I'm going to turn back to you, Mr. Thomas.